You would think the controversies around the consumption of dietary cholesterol and saturated fat would just be put to bed already, but unfortunately, they're not. They're wide awake. There are still millions of people who think dietary cholesterol is an essential or necessary nutrient to consume. Some people would even go as far as to say that eggs are a superfood. This is really bothersome because this young man here apparently thinks cholesterol in eggs are good and healthy for people to consume. This young man is known as Stephen Ray Warren, and before I begin, let me just say this is not a roast on Stephen. I don't want to bash this young man, as I, much like Stephen, used to think that eggs were healthy until I really looked deeply at the science. And I really just want to keep this video as objective as possible. I also don't think that Stephen is trying to misinform anyone with some type of hidden agenda, and he seems like a pretty nice guy. That being said, let's see what Stephen has to say about dietary cholesterol.
One of the main misconceptions about eggs is the yolk and the cholesterol. It's happened many times where I'm cooking eggs, I got 4, 5, 6 of them in the pan, I'm dropping raw eggs into my coffee, I'm shooting down raw eggs, and then you just drink it. Wow, never done that before. My dad's like, dude, you're gonna get a heart attack with all that cholesterol. The fact of the matter is that cholesterol is good for us. Cholesterol is a necessary nutrient. It's super important for vitamin D production. 25% of the cholesterol found in our bodies is found in the brain because it feeds our brain, it feeds our nervous system. Very beneficial. And dietary cholesterol is not related to heart disease, to heart failure, to clogging the arteries or anything like that. So if you're scared about that, go watch my video where I cover my lipid panel after being on a high-fat diet for the last 2.5 years. I'm gonna put a card right here. I talk a little bit more about cholesterol and how it's actually very important for us, and the fact that you have a high LDL or whatever doesn't really matter.
So you heard it right there. Cholesterol is good for us. Dietary cholesterol is not related to clogging arteries or promoting heart disease or causing heart disease or heart attacks, whatever. So heart disease is not caused by dietary cholesterol, according to Stephen Ray Warren. Well, no studies were shown during the entirety of this video, nor are there any reliable sources in the description box of this video. So really, these statements are just standing on the backing of his own words, which unfortunately means nothing. That being said, the body creates all the cholesterol it needs, therefore dietary cholesterol is not necessary, and this has already been proven that the consumption of exogenous dietary cholesterol raises serum cholesterol levels. This study here explains how dietary cholesterol affects serum cholesterol levels at baseline. If someone is already consuming high amounts of dietary cholesterol, then their serum cholesterol levels will already be at an unhealthy high level, and adding more dietary cholesterol upon that will not have much of an effect because this person already has high cholesterol and is sick with high cholesterol, that is. Now, this is easily misinterpreted because the majority of Western society thinks that they're healthy with LDL cholesterol levels that are outside of the normal physiological range that should read somewhere between 50 to 70 milligrams per deciliter, which would equate to a total cholesterol reading of somewhere between 90 and 140 milligrams per deciliter. Over 94.6 million Americans have total cholesterol levels above 200 milligrams per deciliter, and another 28.5 million Americans have total cholesterol levels above 240 milligrams per deciliter. Additionally, societies that have had total cholesterol levels that are at 150 milligrams per deciliter or lower have lower atherosclerotic events and are pretty much non-existent. But hold on here. Dietary cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease, or does it? Well, if we look at this study here, the rate at which atherosclerosis progresses is faster the higher one's LDL's cholesterol level is. Atherosclerosis itself is what causes heart disease, and higher LDL cholesterol is the main driver for progressing atherosclerotic plaque buildup in a person's arterial system. So let's run it from the top. The more dietary cholesterol and saturated fat you eat, the higher your LDL cholesterol will be. The higher the LDL cholesterol you have, the faster your atherosclerosis will progress on your arterial system. The more atherosclerosis you have on your arterial system, the greater chance you'll have of suffering from a heart attack or stroke or a limp dick. I apologize, but I had to throw that in there again because it's true. Don't want it to be true, but it is. Just to ensure I cover my bases here, here's a meta-analysis of metabolic ward studies proving high blood cholesterol levels are caused from higher saturated fat intakes. Here's another study showing reducing intake of saturated fat led to a 17% reduction in the risk of cardiovascular disease to include heart disease and strokes. But there is a bright side to this one study. There was no effect in the risk of dying. So if you consume high amounts of saturated fat, you may have the heart attack or stroke, but don't worry, you'll probably live.
Ah, shit, it's alright though, I'll probably live, so just bring all the bacon and eggs. Ah, fuck. Ah.
So I think the science is pretty clear that consumption of dietary cholesterol and saturated fat causes cardiovascular disease, as these metabolic ward studies and randomized controlled trial studies prove this. That being said, let's take a quick look at Steven's blood cholesterol levels from a video he posted. He took the video down. Steven posted a video a few months ago sharing his blood work after being keto for 2.5 years, I believe. I don't quite remember the date that he released the video, but either way, I do remember that he shared his cholesterol levels, his total cholesterol levels, HDL and LDL cholesterol levels, and I do remember that his cholesterol levels were like astronomically high. Specifically, his LDL cholesterol levels, I believe, were over 160 milligrams per deciliter, which is 2 times over the normal physiological range where atherosclerosis does not occur. So Steven is pretty much a walking example of what happens when you follow a ketogenic diet that encompasses insane amounts of dietary cholesterol and saturated fat. Your cholesterol levels are gonna skyrocket and go through the roof, and you're gonna be put at risk. So I don't know why Steven took the video down, but it's not on his channel anymore, even though he talks about it in his Eggs Are a Superfood video, and it's also linked in the description box of his video. But again, it's just the video's not there anymore. So yeah, he would have to answer that on his own if he wants. Either way, I say let's just move on and let's see what Steven has to say about vitamin A.
True vitamin A, by the way, because if someone tells you that you can get vitamin A from plants, or if your vitamin A supplement or your multivitamin says vitamin A, and then in parentheses it says beta carotene, no, that is not true vitamin A. If some vegan told you that you can get vitamin A from plants, they're lying to you, and that's a scam because it's not true. True vitamin A is retinol palmitate, and you can only find that in the animal kingdom. The plant kingdom is great, but you cannot find true vitamin A there, and that's a necessary vitamin for our body.
What Steven said is true, but the human body can obtain vitamin A in the form of beta carotene from foods such as sweet potatoes and carrots, so you don't need eggs or animal flesh to obtain the vitamin A you need. A cup of sweet potato has over 377% of the daily value you need for vitamin A, so it's not an issue at all. And I've heard this argument. For some reason, I don't understand why the keto people or keto community love to harp on this vitamin A supposed issue. I don't get it. I don't understand, but whatever. They love to talk about it though. Whatever. Vitamin A, not an issue. Moving on.
Another B vitamin is choline. Choline is found in egg yolks as well. You can't really find it in many other places other than some animal products. Now, choline is a precursor to acetylcholine. Very important, very vital nutrient. Our nervous system loves choline, acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is very important for muscle memory and function. Just something that we should all be making sure that we're getting good amounts of it. Now, another reason why you would want to take choline is if you take any smart drugs or nootropics from the racetam family. So I have a video on smart drugs and nootropics. I talk about how aniracetam is one of my favorite ones, but it can cause some headaches, and you can actually fix that by supplementing with choline or just eat some raw eggs. Very important for just overall bodily function of our spacesuit. Very key vital nutrient is this B vitamin choline.
Choline is an essential nutrient only when excess methionine and folate haven't been consumed, and according to the Harvard Health Letter, people tend to overconsume choline, which has actually been linked to prostate cancer risk and death. So if I were you, I would not worry about choline consumption or supplementing with choline, since I don't think you'd want your prostate to rot off, but I digress. What else you got, Steven?
Now, what else can you find in the egg yolk? There's a couple antioxidants, believe it or not, inside the egg yolk, specifically some carotenoids, lutein and zeaxanthin. These are for the eye. These protect the retina. These protect your vision. Now, I've talked about astaxanthin and DHA before. Astaxanthin, lutein, zeaxanthin, all these pigments, these carotenoids, some of the most potent and powerful antioxidants on this planet are found in egg yolks.
All right, so I'm gonna have to cut them off right there, because the amount of lutein and zeaxanthin found in egg yolks is absolutely minuscule. I mean, there's only about 252 micrograms of antioxidants per egg, whereas an actual superfood like kale has over 20.5 milligrams of lutein and zeaxanthin per cup. So this is just silly propaganda nonsense the American Egg Board says to make eggs sound as if they're healthy, while disregarding all the horrifically negative nutrients that are found in eggs. And people just love to eat this shit up. This is no different than cigarette companies claiming their products are healthy, or Pepsi Cola associating their products with energetic and vibrant activity from our youth, or media stars. It's just straight bullshit. Okay, let's wrap this up. So I'm gonna show you a clip from Steven's video on what type of eggs you should consume. Now, I'm not gonna show you the whole segment of the video because it's gonna take way too long, so I'll just summarize. So Steven recommends eating eggs from a local farmer or a neighbor who has raised their chickens a certain way and fed their chickens a certain way, so that the nutrient density of the eggs is optimized. He also suggests that if a person is unable to purchase local eggs from a local farmer or a local neighbor that has raised their chickens a certain way, to then purchase these eggs from a local market that sells free-range eggs from free-range chickens. And if that is unavailable, then he suggests, well, here, have a look-see yourself.
At the end of the day, if all you had was factory farmed eggs, in my opinion, that's better than no egg at all. Okay, unless you have grass-fed ghee or something like that. But let's just say it came down to it, it's better than nothing. Although quality does matter with eggs, and even though the pasture-fed ones are a bit more expensive, just a few bucks more, nothing crazy, it is worth it because research has shown that pasture-fed eggs are more nutrient dense. There's 2 times more omega-3 fatty acids. There's 2 to 3 times more true vitamin A, retinol palmitate. There's 7 times more beta-carotene. It's just overall a superior choice. It's worth it. You're getting more nutrients. Also, you're not supporting, when you go that route, you're not supporting factory farmed methods and practices, which are satanic, unethical. I don't support that at all. But if that's what you absolutely had to do, that's what you gotta do. Just do your best with whatever you can, okay? That's the ideal, and that's the worst. Pick whatever fits in your budget and your lifestyle on that scale, okay?
So there you have it. Steven thinks eggs are so essential that even if you have to resort to this, then it's okay, because apparently having no eggs is worse than having eggs, because eggs are so nutritious. Honestly, this is just a giant crock of shit. Eggs are not a superfood, as I have just shown you. Eggs promote the clogging of the human arterial system, they promote cancer, and it is incredibly cruel and disrespectful to pay homage to these heinous acts. even if you buy your chicken eggs from free-range chickens, which by the way, aren't really free-range, but that's a topic for a different day. Or let's just say if you buy them from the happy, misty, beautiful rainbows and butterflies fairy tale land of free chicken land, the end result will always be the same for male baby chicks.
These chickens are brutally crushed. During their short existence, no one showed affection or compassion towards them. And what awaits for those who survive is even worse.
I apologize to everyone who saw that. I just found it necessary because everyone who happens to buy eggs and is watching this video needs to know that they are supporting this abhorrent business. I wasn't going to talk about it, but since Steven wanted to bring up factory farming, I only found it necessary to spread some awareness. And that's about all I have to talk about in regards to this egg topic, and a message directly to Steven if you get a chance to watch this video. Steven, you seem to have missed a giant piece of data, and your assumptions in regards to egg consumption seem to be pretty wrong. So I'll end it on this note. I don't think Steven is a bad person. He's just maybe not come across this information. He's potentially maybe very secluded into this gimmicky keto community that is traversing the internet, and I honestly, I don't blame him. You know, I used to think that there was nothing wrong with consuming eggs till I saw the science and shit. I mean, I even made a video on eggs myself, and yeah, it's still on my channel, and I'm gonna leave it up on my channel, you know, just to show everyone that, yeah, we can change, and to also prove to myself and everyone else that I'm not perfect, and neither are you, and we could always learn. We're always gonna be in a state of learning, but what we cannot do is choose to deliberately deny what is objectively right or wrong just to protect our own egos or pleasures. That's a message to everyone. You're welcome. I'll send the bill in the mail. So that's it. Steven, if you are watching the video, I hope you watched it completely. Either way, I greatly appreciate it, and as I stated in our brief conversation, I welcome you or anyone else to refute anything I have stated or any of the studies I have presented. All in all, I hope you enjoyed the information. I hope you enjoyed my little presentation here. And if you did like the video, please do your boy a favor and make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, do your boy a favor, make sure to subscribe so I can keep you updated on the weekly. I'm the Natural Huckster. I want to thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for the next one.